Something I think about a lot is money. I do okay in my life, but I always think, it'd be nice to do better so I can live a little better, go on vacations, have money to save, do work to my house a lot more easily than trying to save up forever to get little things done. Um, and I'm not looking for anything crazy. Making like a 200K a year salary is pretty reasonable, but I'm not at that status. So I'm always thinking, like, what can I do to get to that status? I'm like, well, I could get a bunch of side hustles and then I'm just working all the time. But then I'm like, life's gonna suck if I never have free time and I'm just work, so I can get money. Sometimes I think about leaving my job and trying to find another job. But then, like they say, you never really make money if you're working for somebody else. They're the ones making the money. You're just getting a salary. So if the company has a huge boom one month and they make $2 million more profit than last month, well, the owners are getting a huge boost and you're getting the same exact pay. So then I think, well, maybe I should do my own thing. And then I think about all the things that are out there now, like all the people that are successful now. And I'm like, a lot of it is either you're great at stock market type stuff like Warren Buffett, or you did something with tech or some other kind of product like Elon Musk, how he's got Tesla and SpaceX. I don't know how he makes money with SpaceX. That just seems like exploration tech, but I don't know. I'd assume it makes money. Why would you have a company that just for nothing? But still, you know what I'm saying. So like Tesla, it's cars. Starlink, it's internet. He was a part of PayPal, which was a transaction service. Or else you have like other people like Bill Gates with Microsoft and computers and software and Xbox and all that. And I'm like, well, I can't think of anything that I could make. And then I'm like, even if I did think of something, I don't know how to make a team and get it marketed. I don't even know how they got started. So then I think older times, and I'm like, well, what did they do back in the day then when there wasn't technology? And I'm like, well, a lot of the stuff that they did then was kind of pointless for today's day and age, you know what I mean? It's like stuff that's now well established. I can't really get into those markets anymore. Or it's random stuff like textiles and stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that's really hitting anymore. It's technology now, so I'm like, looking back in the day is useless. So it puts me in a tough situation. The only thing I can think of is to try to market my skills that I have, but I'm like, geez, the market's already kind of big for the skills I have. Like, how would I put myself, differentiate myself from the rest of the pack so that then I'm more attractive so that I get the customers and I can steal some from other people? I guess I'd have to have really good rates. But then am I undercutting myself? It makes me think of war dogs when they go and they make an offer and they win the bid with the government because they were severely undercut. When Jonah Hill's character asks how much less did we bid, and then one of the officials says, you were 50 million less than the next lowest bid. And then they're like, seriously? So we could have done 45 million higher and we still would have been the lowest bid. So I don't want that to be me, where I'm trying to make my own undercutting. But anyways, long-winded intro to get into this. So when I think about people that made money back in the day, I think about the rich people, the Carnegie and Rockefeller. They're famous for the early 1900s and all that, for being mega rich. But I'm like, being rich back in the day was really pointless. I mean, what did it do for you to be super rich? You could buy a lot of land, I guess. You could buy a huge house, I guess. But, like, otherwise, what did it do? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, during those times, especially depending on how far back you go, the further you go, the less amenities there are in current, of the day that we have today. Like, travel overseas. Well, you had boats, so I guess you could do that. But then depending on how far back you go for your richness, just means you'd be blindly exploring. You become Columbus, just like, oh, I hope I find something good. And it takes you months to get across the ocean. Or, now we have planes and we have boats and stuff. It makes it way faster. You can get overseas in, 12 hours or whatever. I never flew overseas, but I'm just spitballing. Versus months on a boat. Or, toilets. You didn't have plumbing. You had an outhouse. It didn't matter how rich you were. You still had an outhouse. Or, again, depending on how far back you go for richness, there wasn't even electricity. So you're still walking around with your candle. Oh, I'm super rich. Oh, look at my candle. It's like, I don't know. Like, I heard a story. I wish I could remember the details. I wanted to look it up before I made this video, but I don't even know what to start searching for. I guess I could have typed in richest person of all time, actually. Whatever, though. I heard a story about some guy way back in the day. I'm thinking it's something ridiculous like 8 BC or something. And he's the richest person of all time. He lived in like Egypt or something. I don't know if he was a pharaoh or what, but I guess he had a net worth of like $1 trillion in today's money or something ridiculous like that. And I always think, okay, on one hand, that's cool, I guess, to be to this day still hold the title of richest person of all time. That's a record that you've held for quite some time. But at the same time, I'm like, that was so pointless. What was the point of being rich back then? What'd you do? If he was in Egypt, I guess what, you had a lot of camels or something? You had high-end purebred camels? I mean, what'd you do? Have a really big pyramid? At the end of the day, that pyramid still would have taken forever to get built. It was people building it. You didn't have machines like nowadays where you could just come in and, I don't know, get more equipment and more machinery and more guys and get it built faster. You still had just guys with basic, mechanical means of doing things. So, what did being rich do for you? I guess you could eat more food than everyone else. You didn't have to work like everyone else had to. I don't know. But it just seems like, I don't know, it's just something I always think about. Being rich back in the day, like basically being rich prior to 1920 was pointless. Because 1920 at least is when things started to boom. That's when electricity started to become more common. Radios were a thing. Around the TVs when did TVs come out? That was like the 40s, right? So TVs were around the corner at least. You didn't know that at the time, but still. Phones were starting to become a thing. Cars, so you could have a collection of Model Ts and Stanley Steamers and all that. and from there, 1920 and on, obviously then it started to get even better and better and better. I mean, geez. When was the Wright brothers' first flight? 1901 or something? And then by the 60s, you're going to the moon. So that's a huge advancement. So now world travel matters. You could have homes around the world at least, or at least a couple. So then you can go to other places and have a place to be, not a hotel or whatever, but your own house. You could still buy land, but at least now you could actually make purpose out of it. Maybe you buy land and then you build something on it that you can monetize, whether it's a hotel or you make a resort or something. Or what else? You can buy a helicopter. You can have really nice luxury homes with all the latest tech, especially in today's day and age, with all the latest tech built in. So you just walk in and it's almost like Tony Stark's house. You can just talk and be like, hey, turn on the kitchen lights. Hey, flush my toilet. Hey, put the TV on. Hey, this, hey, that. So there's benefit to being rich in today's day. And then there's also other nonsense. I mean, it would only make you richer, but you can invest in stuff. You can invest in the stock market. You can buy a sports team. You can get into franchises of restaurants. You can get into real estate. And yeah, it grows your wealth, but it also helps generationally. You can, have stuff to leave behind for your kids and then consequently your grandkids. And it's like you start a legacy, I guess. But back in the day, again, what was the point? I mean, I guess, yeah, you'd have all that money that you could leave to your kids and stuff, but what are they going to do with it? Go back to that guy who I think was from 8 BC or something. Okay, so he had mega wealth. He could have left it to his kids if he had any, and then they left it to theirs and theirs and theirs. But it takes forever before that wealth actually matters. He's on his great grandkids before they can actually even use that wealth in any way that matters. Hey, we're rich and we have something to show for. Not just, hey, we're rich and, well, I still got to take a dump out in my outhouse. Hey, I still don't have heat except for this fireplace. Hey, I'm walking around at night with my candles because I don't have electricity because it's not invented yet. I don't know. It's something I always think about. That being rich was so pointless back in the day. And I don't understand why people would have strived for it. I mean, I get it. A lot of people were poor back in the day as well, so you don't want to be poor, but, geez, just an average amount of wealth should have been fine. Why would anybody want to strive to be rich? It makes sense now, because like I said, all those cool benefits that we have. But back in the day, who cares?